Shalom and welcome to The Hidden Truth. We're going to talk about the pedophilia that has engulfed America, that has become a constant staple of what American society is, and the elevation that has corrupted the nation. There is one thing that America has become great at, and that's dealing with the psychology, dealing with the mind, how to control the masses. And the perfect way they started is when you're a child.
They went into the homes of 42 families, and they had an intense observation of those families. They looked at those families an hour a month, every single month, from the time their children were 7 months of age until the end of the 3rd year. And what they found, it was not about race, it was not about gender, and here's the key, it was not about money. It wasn't determined by the number of toys that could be purchased by the parent. It wasn't determined by the neighborhood they lived in. It wasn't determined by the size of the house they lived in. It was determined by the interaction of the parents with the child. And the interaction that they saw after 3 years of observation was that there were 30 million more words that those families that were identified as professional families, 30 million more words that those families, those mamas and daddies said to their children than the children in poverty.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
That's important because neurologic development of the brain, actual physical development of the brain, depends on words. Each time a word is said, it shoots up the neuron, it stimulates the neuron, and when that word is repeated, that same path is stimulated again, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and it branches out, so there's capability of learning.
So what are you understanding? If you don't train your child and raise him up in the correct way, with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, keeping him on a moral compass that will elevate his mind, America will. And let's take a look at how they prepare them for this society.
I'll tell you what's the worst part about television is the programming, the philosophy, okay? I mean, the manipulating of your mind, the philosophy, the mentality, the system of thinking, the ideology. That's what's wrong with television. That's what's wrong with movies. That's where they're really getting in your head. Take, for example, Walt Disney, right? And many people that will preach against the TV, they'll preach against the movies, they'll preach against Hollywood because it's obvious that stuff is bad. But then they'll say, well, we watch Disney movies. And I've been to the home of preachers and Christians who would never watch TV or the movies, but yet they have the whole library of the Walt Disney movies. You know those white plastic cases? And they have them all lined up. And I mean, they have tons of them lined up. Of course, I don't know how many there are, but there's hundreds of them. They have them lined up and lined up. And they have their kids watching those movies all day long. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to prove to you right now that those movies are wicked. Say, what? Disney movies? Come on, you're crazy. They're rated G. Well, let's see. First of all, did you know this? Did you know that Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages? Subliminal messages. Now, what are we talking about tonight? Sorcery. What are we talking about tonight? Getting inside your mind and messing with you, controlling your thought process by supernatural means or demonic means. Or hey, I'm going to tell you something. Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages. And you say, oh, that's a hoax. I've seen it with my own eyes. When I was a teenager, I had a friend of mine sit me down at his house and show me the subliminal messages in the Disney movies. They're filled with subliminal messages. Let me give you some examples. The Lion King, filled with subliminal messages. Okay, all throughout the movie, there are pornographic pictures hidden in the movie. Like you'll be watching the movie and just for a few seconds, something filthy will come on. Like off to the side, there'll be some kind of a, reproductive anatomy will pop up, over here, and then over here. There's this one point where the lion, he kind of goes like this, and a cloud of dust comes up and just spells the word sex. And the word sex is put in the Lion King movie subliminally, literally hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. The shapes on the screen will spell the word. And I've seen it. I mean, I had my friend sit me down at his house and pausing the movie, showing me the word sex popping up on the screen at different times because he knew where they were. And he would show me these things. Another one, and they all are filled with it. Aladdin is another one. In the movie Aladdin, there's a part in the movie where the guy, what's his name, Aladdin? There's a point in the movie where he tells Jasmine to take all her clothes off. But you don't even know it unless you know it's there. You listen to it, and he mumbles it kind of under his breath.
Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going.
Simple-minded. This is how they look at our children, because they know children are very malleable, very easy to be influenced. So they use media, TV, movies, to where our children not only wants to be like them, but join them. And this is what you have in Hollywood.
Did some of those kids look familiar? That's because you just saw Justin Timberlake, Carrie Russell, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling.
Ariana Grande and Selena Gomez are two of music's biggest pop stars, but one actor is totally dissing their sexy personas. Comedian Jeff Garlin, who stars on the ABC sitcom The Goldbergs, stopped by HuffPost Live this week and slammed not only the girls, but the over-sexualization of young stars in general.
But the thing is, when I see her sexualized, I look at her, and I look at this Ariana Grande, is that her name?
That's right.
Okay. Both beautiful girls, really beautiful girls, but they have baby fat. They look like kids. They look like kids, like great bikini shots of Selena Gomez. I don't go there. I see the thing, but I see those chubby cheeks. She's a kid. This is disgusting that it's happening so, young.
Hollywood's conversation about sexual misconduct has largely been spearheaded by adults, oftentimes years after the initial incidents. But child stars are affected by the issue too, and some celebrities say they should be part of the bigger conversation. The American Psychological Association, which has its own task force on the sexualization of girls, says sexualization occurs when a person is objectified, when their value is attributed to sex appeal, or when sexuality is inappropriately imposed. As a result, sexualization at a young age can warp future perceptions and attitudes about dating, sexual harassment, and sexual violence.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 27 verse 10. As the lion lieth in wait for the prey, so sin for them that work iniquity.
This is how they look at these children. Nothing more than prey, something to be consumed and conquered. And we better open up our eyes. Take a look at what they're doing. Look at what they're promoting. They knowingly understand a child's mind, and their agenda is to constantly distort it from a child all the way to a teenager, going into adulthood, and leaving all these children to fend for themselves. And as we see, some of them don't handle it very well.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4 and verse 12. For the bewitching of naughtiness doeth obscure things that are honest, and the wandering of concupiscence doeth undermine the simple mind.
The bewitching has left our children to fend for themselves on every level. You can see it from Disney, and if they transition from Disney to singing, even the rap game, whatever industry it is, the children are psychologically damaged, distraught, and destroyed. And this is by design.
On Friday, Kaya Jones, who had a brief role in the Pussycat Dolls from 2003 to 2005, tweeted a number of claims that the girl band was actually more of a prostitution ring than a performing act, saying it was forced to sleep with whoever they said.
So now we can see why these predators are strategically placed through this system. Any industry within the system, they have them set up to take advantage and push this agenda of pedophilia, taking advantage of women, taking advantage of men. This is why this kingdom is corrupt. But let's look at this character. Everybody knew about this guy. Check it out.
Harvey Weinstein was the king of Hollywood, a mogul with 81 Oscars to his name.
The Harvey I knew was brilliant. I mean, truly a brilliant man.
He is a master predator.
Now Hollywood's dirty secret is out in the open.
We knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. We knew. Everybody knew. Everybody.
Before we begin, I just want to congratulate Harvey and his wife Georgina on the birth of their new baby boy.
Thank you.
Harvey gave us just what we needed, another him.
Finally, I'd like to thank Harvey Weinstein, the Punisher, that's his nickname. The Punisher, yes.
Harvey Weinstein, Bob Weinstein, God bless him.
My friends at Miramax for making this film, especially Harvey. And
Harvey, thank you for killing whoever you had to kill to get me up here today.
And to Harvey Weinstein, the tough guy on the playground with the biggest heart. Thank you for saying you'd do anything for your friends, and you always do. Thank you.
And then Harvey Weinstein.
And Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey and Bob Weinstein.
Thank you, Harvey Weinstein.
I want to thank Harvey and Bob Weinstein.
My agent, Kevin Uvain, and God, Harvey Weinstein.
Let me guess. You're saying, well, it's not everyone. They're just a few bad seeds. If you can't see it now that this is systematic, then you will never see it. You will always be blind to the truth. America is infested because it believes in these ideas, promotes them, uplifts them, and they are against the God of the Bible.
Psalms chapter 37, verse 35. I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Verse 38. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off.
There's a guy I'd like to really thank here that people don't thank enough, but there's a kindly, wonderful, gentle man that we all deeply love. His name is Harvey Weinstein. A little rough around the edges, but a heart of gold. And we do love you. And this is a good man. People don't know that, but he's done a lot of good things in life. They'll write an article about that someday, too. New Yorker.
To try and understand what happened, we listened to stories like Rose McGowan's, who was one of the first celebrities to accuse him of sexual assault. It was 1997, and she was at the Sundance Film Festival, already a star in the making. Weinstein invited her to his hotel room, where, she says, he raped her.
Skilled predators take a lion. They look for the weakest one in the pack, don't they? The one without the protection. Because there are actresses he didn't target because they had better representation or better people around them, or there was something they didn't have that crack, maybe. But he targeted an awful lot. And like a super predator, you know, with night vision goggles on, he saw what he needed to see, and he did what he needed to do. His whole world was set up to rape, to consume, to eat people's lives. He's a dastardly human.
Give Weinstein what he wanted, or forfeit a dream. That's the choice Dawn Dunning says she had to make too. She's a costume designer now, But back in 2003, she was a young actress looking for her big break. She met Weinstein while she was working in a nightclub, and he said he could help. After several screen tests, she went to what she thought was a business meeting in a hotel suite.
When I got there, he opened the door and he was in an open robe. On the coffee table, he had 3 small stacks of paper, and he said, "These are contracts for my next 3 films. I will sign them today, but I want you to have a threesome with me and my assistant."
Now, remember at one time you thought this was a conspiracy theory when we were telling you that you had to do vile things to get into the industry, whether it be music, media, whatever industry? Can you see it now?
Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches.
There is Hollywood's other dirty secret that victimizes the most vulnerable, children. And someone who's spoken out about this and is painfully aware is former child star Corey Feldman.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. Well, he was the guy who ran Alfie's Soda Pop Club. And I met him when I was 12 years old. He came to my house to pick me up in his car, and I had heard rumors that he threw the coolest parties in town, and he was very connected, and he was the son of Bobby Hoffman, who was the top casting director at the time for one of the major studios. That studio ran many of the hit shows that were on TV at the time, from Happy Days to Laverne and Shirley to Mork and Mindy. I mean, all the top shows, and many of the shows that I guest appeared on. You know, the guy that ended up molesting Haim, that's where, I mean, there was a bunch of these guys. They were all hanging out together at these parties. And the thing is, there weren't a lot of parents at the party. There was a lot of kids everywhere, and there was a lot of producer-type guys and Hollywood-type guys, and maybe 1 or 2 moms, maybe 3 moms that kind of chaperoned. But really, there weren't a lot of parents there, because he would pick them up and he became friends with all these kids.
Child abuse is when a parent or guardian, through failing to act or through action, causes death, emotional harm, or risk of serious harm to a child. And these fall under the main 4 forms of emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, or neglect.
There is no industry that can escape this, because it is in the fabric of the American ideology. And even our own people have become accustomed to following this filth.
Grandfather of hip-hop, godfather of hip-hop, African Bambaataa. These sex allegations been going on about him with underage boys. You know,
Africa Bambaataa is the founding father of hip-hop. He's the co-founder of the Universal Zulu Nation. He unzipped my pants and he took it out and he started jerking it. And then he put my hand on it and then started making me jerk.
Half the Zulu Nation, they know. Everybody sitting up there in front, he never tried nothing with me. Yes, he did. He tried that. He tried something with damn near everybody. I mean, come on, man. He tried Crazy Mike. Crazy Mike knocked him out. Everybody know Phil Brother Mike knocked him out. He tried Brian and Eric. He got pistol whipped. They were a little bit older. Everybody know. He has a history of this shit.
This is the filth of this nation being revealed. And how come our brothers and sisters partake in this? Why didn't the knowledge of the Moors prevent or teach against this? Where's their books at that speak against this? This is the same thing as all the other nations. This knowledge is not good knowledge, because it would have prevented this man sleeping with these children.
How much more abominable and filthy is man, which drinketh iniquity like water.
Chris Stokes. Chris Stokes is the manager
of B2K and Marcus Houston. The young brother, Raz B, was given details of what Marcus Houston did to him and what Chris Stokes did to him, basically breaking down them for being the alleged predators that they are.
Everything that you talking about, Quentin, I used to walk through the same shit. Chris used to have me have sex. I used to have to fuck Chris all the time. To where it was like, man, this shit's like, it's not even, this shit is nasty, my nigga. I'm really looking at this nigga like, this nigga really is gay. Like, this nigga really do like this shit, and I have to participate and do this shit. When can I stop? He's what you call an incest perpetrator, dog. Someone that's close to you, that's like a father figure that would just fucking straight mislead you and take advantage of you.
They gathered themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood.
Let's take a look at how the industry destroys some of these young movie stars, rappers, singers. Rihanna, young and innocent, unknowing. And what did they do? They take advantage of that. She's a good girl, and over time, they strip her of that. Now she has to be the good girl gone bad. And they don't care. This is the example they show to the young women. Look at Selena Gomez, young and innocent. But what do? They destroy her mind, her mental, her thinking. And this happens to a lot of young movie stars. Depression, anger, anxiety, leaving them distraught. This is the industry.
The American Psychological Association, which has its own task force on the sexualization of girls, says sexualization occurs when a person is objectified, when their value is attributed to sex appeal, or when sexuality is inappropriately imposed. As a result, sexualization at a young age can warp future perceptions and attitudes about dating, sexual harassment, and sexual violence.
Now we can understand why they start us out as young children, influencing us with all these sexual themes in cartoons, in media, in music, in Hollywood. But it's to get us to this point. Let's take a look.
Sex trafficking, something happening right here at home. Women, often very young girls, locked into a life of prostitution by highly skilled profiteers, pimps. And you're going to hear Nick argue, when you look closely, these women are in fact not criminals, but hostages. A study says the average age a girl enters prostitution is 12 to 14 years old.
So one day, I think I was 13. I didn't really know a lot about anything. So I went online and I wanted to, I don't know how I came across like this website for like sugar daddies, guys would pay for your stuff. I didn't know that I would have to have sex with them. I just thought they were gonna, I don't know what I was thinking, but I just thought that, they would buy me stuff and just because I was pretty.
Do we really have to ask, why do they think like this? Why do they try to act these things out? Let's keep watching.
I don't know what I was thinking, but I just thought that, they would buy me stuff and just
because I like sugar daddies that could support me, bitch.
Laura, you said you fell into this about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
How do you fall into it?
Just people asking me to go on dates and giving me gifts.
But also, I mean, we say that I'm sit in judgment, but as far as an example to your kids are concerned, I mean, they will know that you were going out with a rich football manager who you then ditched for his richer friend. Because I just said it out loud.
Okay, yeah, they will know. But they're not gonna be, it's not gonna faze my children.
I don't know. I still did not understand what was happening, like, completely, even when we went to the hotel room until it happened.
And that is just one way pimps lay the trap.
We had to make at least $1,000 a day. There was no days off.
They have to sleep with 10 to 20 strangers per night.
I would probably have up to like 20. I was so exhausted. I didn't want to do it anymore. He hit me a few times, and then he had a gun and he pointed it at me and he was like, "You need to do what I say." He was like, "I will kill you."
They gathered themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood.
Proudly for your dad, first African-American state senator in the state of Delaware. Everything about. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Now, if you're paying attention closely, you can now see that this is just not a coincidence. It's systematic. It's set up on every level, from the priest to the politician to the police to high government. And this is how we got to this point. Let's take a look.
The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted.
Today, we announce the unsealing of sex trafficking charges against Jeffrey Epstein. Beginning in at least 2002 and continuing until 2005, Epstein is alleged to have abused dozens of victims by causing them to engage in sex acts with him at his mansion in New York and at his estate in Palm Beach, Florida. The victims, all underage girls at the time of the alleged conduct, were given hundreds of dollars in cash after each encounter, either by Epstein or by one of Epstein's employees.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
You're dealing with a man that was already caught in 2008. Why did they let him go? How many politicians, governors, senators, police officers were involved for him to have that much power? This is that spiritual wickedness in high places.
Speculation in the media about individuals affiliated or associated with defendant Jeffrey Epstein. As you know, Justice Department guidelines prohibit us from talking about such individuals. And so I just want to let you know that if that question comes up about any individual, my answer will be no comment, and that will be across the board, no comment. And I urge you not to read anything into that one way or the other.
The people that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein included some of the richest and most politically powerful people in the world.
Including a member of the British royal family. Standing accused is the Queen's second son, Prince Andrew. Virginia, who now lives in Australia, says she was trafficked to the Duke of York when she was just 17. Prince Andrew denies any wrongdoing, any knowledge of the Epstein sex ring, but Virginia believes he should be punished.
Do you think Prince Andrew should go to jail?
Yes, I think Prince Andrew should go to jail. I mean, is he ever going to? Probably not.
Jeffrey Epstein may be dead, but this story isn't. A shocking new report from the New York Times sheds light on the connection between Microsoft founder Bill Gates and the late Jeffrey Epstein. After Gates' name came up in connection with Epstein and MIT Media Lab, Gates gave a statement to the Wall Street Journal where he insisted he did not have any business relationship or friendship with Epstein. But new reporting from the New York Times outlines numerous meetings between Gates and Epstein and a conversation with Bill and Melinda Gates' foundation, a connection between their foundation and JP Morgan to set up a charitable fund that would financially benefit Epstein. You know what I want to know? Why?
Is what a lot of people have been talking about, and this is who is Jeffrey Epstein, who is in his inner circle and has been for the years when he's accused of abusing sexually underage girls. And Leslie Wexner, the retail mogul behind Victoria's Secret, has gotten kind of caught up in this whole debacle. How is he involved here, Leslie Wexner?
So on one hand, he's not involved in this issue at all, but on the other hand, he does have very close ties to Jeff Epstein.
The reports are, at least, that Mr. Wexner gave him this really expensive townhouse in.
Yeah. So there was a transfer of the townhouse. It's very blurry if you look at how that happened for zero, and then there was payment. It's unclear, the money trail. And then also, don't forget, he also transferred the jet over, a Boeing 727. What was even worse is the fact that after 12 years, he said that the ties were completely severed. But in 2008, there's still things going on in which both of their names are on the same paperwork. Don't forget also, in his home, there's a civil lawsuit that says a woman said that she was attacked actually in Lex Wessner's home by Jeff Epstein.
It's, the story goes on not very comfortably.
Have you noticed that the media is still oblivious to what is going on? Is all America oblivious to the wickedness, corruption, falsehood, and lies this nation upholds? I really do think so. But we're going to edify a little bit. Why is the owner of Victoria's Secret connected to Jeff Epstein? It is because, just like the other modeling company, they're funneling children to this pedophile. This is bigger than you can understand. When the Bible says spiritual wickedness in high places, we have to see how high it goes.
The other person who has gone to ground is Jean-Luc Brunel, the French model agent who is also accused of sexual abuse and supplying Epstein with underage models who were conveniently housed in and trafficked from this New York apartment block, not far from the mansion.
Meanwhile, while all the hurt and pain is going on in the world, and things like this that corrupt this society and eat at the fabric of this nation, they make fun of it, satire. They shouldn't be laughing.
And attended his infamous parties. Sure, I told New York Magazine in 2002 that Epstein is a terrific guy. But that was before I found out that I said later in the same sentence that he likes beautiful women on the younger side. I knew it.
This is why this kingdom is falling. This is why this nation is coming down. And it hasn't stopped. The wickedness has not stopped. It's still going. It corrupts the world. It corrupts kingdoms and nations. This is why Babylon will fall.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
If you think this helped and there was some edification, like, share, subscribe. Let's get this out to the masses. Check out our other videos. You will love them. Shalom.